Hello and welcome back to another video about the Lexus 450 LX450 Land Cruiser. As you guys all know, I picked this up about last couple weeks. Decided I wanted to put it on the market, which, you know, it's up on the market for $7,000. But then a couple days ago, a buddy of mine who is a auto mechanic technician, a master technician, we took it to his shop and he took a look at it, and everything checked out okay until we found out that there was one small issue, one very small issue, but that very small issue can lead to disaster. So once we found out that issue, I decided to take the Land Cruiser off the market and not sell it, because I don't want to sell this vehicle with that issue to a new owner. And I decided that I'm just gonna keep this LX450 and keep it as a parts rig. Whenever I need anything for my red vehicle right here, I'll just take it off of this parts rig and put it in there. Now keep in mind that the LX450 right here still starts and run. It does need some maintenance. When you step on the brakes, the rotors are all warped, so it definitely needs some maintenance before it can be really roadworthy. Now the issue that I'm gonna tell you, most 99.9% of you guys will never find this issue unless you're a master technician like my buddy. Even I didn't notice it. So the issue is a cracked cylinder head. If you guys don't know what that means, it means that the cylinder right here that holds all your cams on top of the block, it has a small hairline crack. It is so small that you would have never noticed it unless you have the eye for it, or my buddy would probably have never even noticed it if I didn't pressure wash the engine. Because if you guys know, when I got this engine, or this vehicle, this engine bay was just covered in dirt, dust, and then I pressure washed it. So I'm gonna show you guys the hairline crack on this vehicle, and it's so small that it's right there. You can barely even notice it. See, you guys probably don't even notice it. So let me get something to point it out for you. So right here is the cylinder, right on the exhaust section, and this little line right here that you see, that's a cylinder crack. Now keep in mind that it's so small that you can barely notice it, and the reason why we were able to tell that it was cracked, because we had the engine running, and then my buddy, he sprayed some brake cleaner right there to clean off all the stuff, and then we found out that after a while oil was seeping out. Very slow leak, super slow leak that you can barely notice it. Now, and again, this vehicle is still drivable. There's no lack of power. The engine feels fine, it runs fine, and you can probably still drive for, who knows, the next 10,000 plus miles. But eventually this engine will need to be rebuilt, replaced. Either the head needs to be replaced, and I did some research after finding out that the cylinder head was cracked. So I went online and I was just searching online to see what the cylinder head was running, and a brand new cylinder head or a remanufactured cylinder head runs about $1,600, and that's not without shipping. And then most of the places that are selling these cylinder heads, they all want a core charge, so they want you to return the old one back in. So I just don't want to mess with that. If I'm gonna go that route, I might as well just get a brand new remanufactured engine, and that's like $4,000, $5,000. Now, in my opinion, is it worth it? Is it worth putting a new engine in here? Yes. If you have no option, like if this is your only Land Cruiser and you can't find any more Land Cruiser out there because there's a shortage, yes, it's worth rebuilding it or replacing the engine. Because spending $5,000 to put a new engine in here is totally worth it. But in my case, I don't really care. I don't really need this cruiser. The only reason why I bought this cruiser because it was a beat up cruiser. Picked it up for a good price, and then really I just wanted it as a spare parts rig. If I wasn't able to sell it for what I want, then I would just keep it as a spare parts rig. So I come to the conclusion that I'm just gonna hold on to this cruiser here, and whenever I need things, and put into my red cruiser, my 95, because solid axles are hard to find. All the steering components like the drag link, the tie rod, radius arm, hubs, bearings, or hubs, all that good stuff, axles, those are all hard to find right now. And if I was to need those parts and I was to go find those, they're pretty expensive, even being used, you know, because nobody wants to get rid of their spare parts unless they get a good price for it. So in my opinion, this vehicle is worth more than my $7,000 that I'm asking for, because in the long run, it's gonna serve me more once I need those parts. Like right now, I need a new radiator because this piece right here is broken. This piece for the hose is broken, and this hose on my 95 is just basically held by tension. It's like pushing onto this radiator. So I might take this radiator off and swap into my 95, because a new radiator is about $300, $250 and up to $300. So that's the plan. I'm gonna slowly part this rig out, things that I don't need. Like for example, I sold off the middle seats already, and then somebody's gonna come buy the third row seats next week. And then all the fender flares, I don't need the fender flares. The side steps, I'm gonna take off the side steps. I might keep all these doors just for future reference. All the gauges, all the interior stuff I'm gonna keep. This shift lever here, mine is kind of torn up, so I might swap this over to my rig. And a bunch of good things that I will just keep for this rig here. And again, I don't need to part this vehicle right away, so I'm not gonna start tearing it down like in my other rigs. Once I need the parts, I'll start tearing them apart. Like all these axle hubs, these flange hubs, they're all really good things. So that's the reason why I'm not gonna be selling this LX450. I'd be more than happy to sell it for $7,000, but you guys just need to be aware that, hey, you might have to replace your head in the future. But at the same time, I don't want to sell somebody a bad engine, because they're gonna be like, oh, NuttyNu sold me a engine. I haven't started this vehicle in 4 days now, so let's go ahead and give it a quick start. The reason it took a while for it to crank is because of the battery. This battery is used, and it's not the best battery out there. It's just super single digits, negative single digits here in Alaska for the last 4 days. But you can see right here, still starts up perfectly. Second row seats already sold, and then third row seats will be sold next week. I'll go ahead and remove them later. And you can see right here, everything's pretty clean. Carpet can use some shampoo. All the doors, all the windows, everything works fine. My speaker, if you guys remember my walkthrough video, my speaker door here is missing, or at least it's off. And I still have it, but I think I have to glue it on there. But I think these guys will fit on it fine. And then all the door switches, I bought all the door switches here from my local fabrication shop. They were parting on LX450, so I bought 3 of them, except for the driver's side. I bought all 3 of them for $100, so I'm just gonna keep these for spare. They're pretty expensive. If you go look online, used parts are super expensive on these 80 series. And then this driver switch module, I bought that on Amazon for like $50. So a couple dollars went into this rig already. And again, I'm not gonna put any more money onto this rig. I'm just gonna keep it the way it is. I'm not even gonna use it to drive it, because in order for me to drive this fully properly, I gotta give it some new rotors. And I wish I would have kept my front rotors off of my red one, because I put new rotors on it like 2 weeks ago, and they were still good, and I threw those rotors away. So it is what it is. I'm gonna keep all the interior stuff. These are all the switches. They're all good to have. The clock and stuff like that, they're all good to have. All the center console, they're all good to have. It all fits into my rig. The radio is different on mine versus this one here, the Lexus 450. So we'll just hold on to all this good stuff. And also the heat on this rig here, it's not the best. It's not super hot. And my buddy who was the technician, he said that it might just need to be flushed. Or if we flush it and it doesn't work, then it might need a new heater core. So it is what it is. The rear bumper and the rear tow hitch are for sale because I don't need it on my rig. I have an aftermarket bumper. The rear tailgate, I'm gonna hold on to it because those things are pretty hard to find, and you know, I might need it in the future. And all the tail lights and all the head lights, I'm gonna keep all those because like I said, they're super expensive once you find them used. All the fender wheels, I might sell them. All the doors, all these doors, they all fit on my too, so I might just keep these. Maybe I'll switch my red Cruiser into a silver Cruiser. So that's gonna be an update on the LX450. If you guys are wondering what's going on with it, right now it's just gonna be a parts rig. It's gonna be sitting here for a long time. If you guys need some parts, just shoot me a DM or message and I'll see if I want to sell it or not. Worst case scenario is I'll just say no. But for the most part, anything that's important like the engine bay, steering components, axles, all of that stuff's not for sale. But everything else that's not super important, I might just sell it. So just shoot me a message. Hope you guys enjoy. See you guys next time.